Hi, I'm Di. Welcome to my channel. Thanks for coming back if you've been here before, and if you haven't, thank you for joining us for the first time. So today we're in the kitchen, as you can see. We're cooking again and doing another family favourite. As I've said before, I'm working my way through our family cookbook, all the favourites of the family, so that we've got a video version of it as well as a written version. So when I say it's a family favourite, it's coming from our family favourites book. And today we're making chicken pasta. So making it a little bit different to how I normally make it, and I'll explain that as I go through. But first of all, we'll have a look and see what ingredients we're going to be using. So the ingredients that we're going to be using some chicken stock powder to flavour it and some salt. Here at the front, I have already cooked a chicken. I boiled that chicken and I've saved the stock that's in the fridge to make something else with. The chicken naturally needs to be diced up, but I'll have plenty of time to do that. So that's a whole chicken there. We're using salad cream or mayonnaise. You choose what you want to use in it. We're using, it did say 1 onion, but my onions were small, so that's 2 diced onions. Capsicum, it did say 1 green and 1 red. Well, I didn't have a fresh red one on hand, but I have some that I have dehydrated. So I'll be adding that for our red capsicum. At the back here, you can see that we've got a can of cream of chicken soup. We have pasta, that's gluten-free pasta. Normally in this recipe I'd use shell pasta, but it's very hard to get gluten-free shell pasta. You can get it, just not at the stores that I frequent. So we're using the penne pasta for this. It'll still taste as good. Down the front here, we have flour. Now, normally we would just use ordinary plain flour. That is gluten-free flour. I don't know how it's going to go in this recipe. If it doesn't thicken the recipe enough, I'll probably use some corn flour, but we'll see how it is when we get to that stage. At the back, I've got some celery. I've spoken before about when I have stuff in excess, I'll freeze it. So this is some frozen celery. I also had some frozen capsicum, but I also had fresh as well. So I was actually thinking as I was doing this, I could have actually got all the vegetables out of my freezer that were already prepped and ready to go. So I have got diced onion in the freezer, I've got diced capsicum, I've got diced celery, which if I wanted to do this and I was in a real hurry, I could throw it together pretty quick if I had that. And you can also use, if you don't want to boil a chicken, you can get a barbecue chicken from the shops, especially if you're there when they put them on sale and you get them really cheap and you think, oh, what am I going to do? You know, I might buy a couple of them, but what will I do with them? Well, this is a recipe that you can use a barbecue chook for, so you don't have to cook the chicken yourself. You can do that. It does have 2 cups of milk, and I'm using lactose-free milk because someone that I'm making this for is lactose intolerant, and that's the same reason that I'm using margarine down the front there. It's 2 tablespoons of butter, but I'm using margarine instead so that it's lactose free. So that's all the ingredients that we need, and the recipe will be in the description below, so you can easily follow up from there as well. So let's get started by putting the pasta on to boil. I'm going to dice that chicken and then we'll come back. Okay, so we've got our water on to boil for our pasta. It's almost boiling, so as soon as that's boiling rapidly, I'll add the pasta, which I've just got over here, and we'll get on to the rest of it. So what we need to do is to cook our vegetables. So we'll put the margarine, or if you're using butter, you put that in to the pan. And I'll just put the heat on. And then we'll just add all the vegetables. I was going to say everything, but just the vegetables. So we've got our capsicum, our onion, there she goes. Let's add our pasta. a stir. And I've already salted the water for the pasta. And as I say with recipes, I always vary them. So with this, I never really measure things out, even though there will be measurements in the recipe. I just sort of judge it and, you know, whatever I've got on hand, whatever quantity of vegetables I've got on hand, I'll put in. Or okay, so we just want to cook that until the vegetables are soft. I do have the dehydrated capsicum to add, but I won't be adding that at this stage. I'll add it a little later. Okay, so we'll let that cook. We'll let the pasta at the back cook, and we'll come back when that's ready for the next stage. Okay, so the pastas are cooking and the vegetables are softened. So we'll start adding a few more things. So I'm going to throw in the capsicum now. I think that there's enough liquid in there that that capsicum will absorb that liquid in the cooking process that we're going to be doing. I might just add a little bit more capsicum to that. I have another large jar, so I can add some more. That should be enough. Now I'm only adding the dehydrated capsicum because I didn't have a fresh red capsicum. So it's just nice to have the extra colour in here. So while that's cooking along, we'll add our flour. And that's just plain flour that we're adding. And I've used gluten-free flour, so we'll see how that goes with this recipe. So this is the first time I've used gluten-free flour in this recipe, so I'm not sure how it's actually going to go. So we're just stirring the flour through. I'm also going to, at the moment, add the chicken stock powder. It's almost a tablespoon that I've added, and we're going to add a little bit of salt. It's about a teaspoon of salt. Okay. Right. We're just cooking that flour mixture a little bit, and then we'll add the next ingredients. So we're adding mayonnaise. Now we're adding our can of cream of chicken soup. And we want 2 cups of milk, if I can open it. Oh, I didn't expect that to happen, obviously. So I just need half of this. This is a litre. So I'm just judging it. Put that heat back on. A lot of that flour got stuck to the bottom, so I'm just, as I'm stirring, I'm scraping the bottom. Now it looks like that's going to be too thick. I did add extra flour because I didn't know how the gluten-free flour was going to go. I'm just adding the milk until I get the consistency that I need. Just nice and creamy and not too runny, not too thick. Yeah, that's about the consistency that we want. Now, I'll continue cooking that. I need to bring it to the boil, and it may thicken up a little bit. If it does, I might have to add a little bit more of that milk. Okay, let's check the pasta. Just a little bit, maybe a minute or two longer. Okay, I'll bring you back when the pasta's finished cooking. Okay, pasta has been drained, so we just add that, and our chicken has all been diced, so we just add that, and I've just spilt a little bit, so I'll just pick that up. And then we just stir that all through. When I first made this recipe, I thought, oh, how strange, adding a mayonnaise to a recipe. I've never done that. This is the only recipe I've ever done it with. And I wondered, oh, how's it going to taste? But it does give a very different flavour, and it is really nice. And I've had people ask me when they eat it, like, what is it that's in here? Because I can't work it out. And when I tell them, they go, really? So the type of mayonnaise that you use will determine the flavour. So I use the salad cream. We like the salad cream in a lot of recipes that we make using mayonnaise. So we use that in this too. But you can use whatever you like. And there you have it.